Ho ho hello to Streamtabulous, and it is Christmas Eve my way, and if it's Christmas Eve your way or Christmas Day, I'm hoping that you're having a great holiday, and even if you don't celebrate it, I still hope that you're having a fantastic holiday wherever you are. I have my festivity on, and today on Streamtabulous I want to talk about outpainting, or as Adobe would call it, generative expand. This is the ability to take a image where there's parts of the image missing, where it's been cropped, and be able to add to the image to give it more immersion and make it more in-depth. So we'll go over to the intro and then we'll move over to Krita and we'll take a look at how to do it. Okay, so here we are in Krita, and I have my image open here, and I think it'd be nice if it was more landscape and had more to the sides of the image. So I'm going to take a look and see if we can do something with that. And let's talk about like Adobe and theirs compared to Krita. Adobe does have a larger model, so it contains a lot more information. And they have some secret sauce in their UI as well, which really picks up the information of the image to create what you're looking for. But it's their model set, which is absolutely massive with a lot of training in it. It's a lot bigger than the 6 gig models that you'd be downloading from Krita AI, and a lot bigger than the models that you probably making yourself if you're like me. So you may need to find a model which is suited, and I've talked about this many times, to what you're doing. If you're doing photo restorations and you're adding on a part of a person which has been cut off, you'll need to look at models which are trained with a lot of information on people. If you're doing something like this image here, I have trained a model on my actual images, so it will help blend better. And I've talked about this before, and I get a lot of criticism on it. A lot of people are saying, learn to draw. I know how to draw. I have been drawing for a long time, but unfortunately I had a violent uncle that decided to break my arm when I caught him stealing my mum's jewelry. And as a result of it, I have a permanently buggered right arm. I can't do rotation. That is literally it there. I have constant hand tremors from muscle conditions, and I have constant pain throughout my body through the neurological muscle condition that I have. So I have multiple disabilities going on, which led me, as I'm getting older, it's getting worse, which led me to trying to find a way of continuing to express myself in images. And I found these tools are fantastic to help people out. Not people just like me. Obviously, the tool helps out many people. Some people may just want to do, say, a Christmas card for their parents or something like that. And if they're a gamer and they have a gaming system, even if it's a low-end gaming system with a NVIDIA graphics card like this system or the GTX 1070, then they'll have the ability to do things like this. The abilities of this are vast, and I don't think they should be discounted by anyone. I think there's a lot of fear from people that it's going to replace jobs. Jobs have been replaced when computers came out. There were a lot of people hand coloring negative films. Some of them learned how to use the new tools on computers and kept in a job. Others didn't and lost their job. As times have changed and things have evolved, you know, what is done has changed as well. It doesn't mean artists are not going to be used. There's a lot of call for it. The laws and the movements in courts that people like the film industry are doing and that the artists are bringing to the attention will hopefully put locks on where, for example, I think models are the most at risk. say a poster which is advertising perfume, where before they were paying a model to pose, they don't have to do that now. They can use AI to generate a person, say, leaning on a ledge of a pool with water running on them and having the bottle there. And that is, to me, a concern. So laws need to be put in place where it keeps people employed. And that is not something which I should be attacked on for using this program to help my disability. It's not something anyone should be attacked on, even if they're using it because they don't know how to draw. I think that is something which should be left to the side for the courts to look at, not for people to come onto my channel and personally attack me. I think that is a disgusting attitude. So let's move past that, but I wanted to bring that up because it's caused me a bit of depression for the past week, and I want to address that. And I shouldn't have to point out in videos that I'm disabled. I shouldn't have to lift my arm up and show it. I should just be able to enjoy myself and do things like anyone else would. So, but the fact that people are constantly coming at me, I seem to have to point out, hey, look, I've got neurological dyslexia, I have problems reading and writing, I have disabilities. It's something no one should do, and the only reason I do it is because I'm attacked on it. So let's get past that, and let's get on with actually using Generative Expand. So we have our image open here. I've loaded up my model, which is trained on my images. And what we want to do is we want to come down to the crop tool and we want to expand this image. So we'll just zoom out here. Just a little hand to move it into a better position. Come to the crop tool. Just going to select my image. And then we want to expand some areas and just give it more of a widescreen look. And maybe a little bit at the top. Give it a bit more immersion. And we just double click and that will do what we need there. Now, good old GTX 1070 is going to take a while to do this. So I will start the render and then we'll skip forward to the end of it. Now, you may have to render a few times to get the result that you're actually looking for. That is something in Adobe as well. And I think the benefit here is you can do multiple renders and it's not costing you any money other than power and what you've already invested into your hardware. This is a 10-year-old graphics card in this system, GTX 1070. Now with Adobe, you, depending on how much you're paying, you have limited generations. And unfortunately, every time you hit the generate button, you are charged credit, including for images or generations which are absolutely no good. And I've talked about it before. I burnt through those very quickly. So I think the fact that this is free and it is the same features as what you're getting in Adobe, if you have the system to run it, I highly recommend it. And I've mentioned before that if you're paying for an Adobe subscription for what you're spending in a year, you can buy a decent RTX 3060 graphics card with 12 gig of VRAM, a lot better than what I'm running. And these render times will be a lot faster, easily 70 to 80% faster than what I'm doing here. So we'll let this run for a moment. We'll fast forward. We'll see the results. Okay, so we have our renders here, and that took a little bit of time due to the old system that I have. If we come across, we can have a look at some of these. And these are actually fantastic. I really love this one here. This is pretty much what I would have done if I was continuing to do this manually. And it's come through and it's done a fantastic job of blending that in. This one wouldn't be my style. Let's try to put maybe what looks like birds here or a tree stump. You could come through and in-paint that. Overall, the way the tree's done is actually really good. It's more simplistic. It's closer to what I would do for sure. But this bit here isn't. I probably would have brought it up like that and brought it in down here. But I really loved that. I think that's fantastic. Oh, this one's beautiful. I love the little path going around. I love the way it's redone the tree. I think that is... There's what it was before. We can take a look at the way it's come through and doing these. It's moving the tree there. Accidentally generated one there, but double clicking too fast. So we'll move that one. I want to see without. And we have this one. Fairy. Looks like it's a tiny little leg there, where it started to try to draw something. I love the way it's put the house in the background there, which has kept it in line with the rest of the theme and the style. But this one here, I think I'm drawn to the most because it gives that scenic landscape. So we can double click on that one, and that will apply the layer. And there we have it there. So if we turn that off, we can see our layer which has been applied. Now, working in small segments is what I would recommend for you to do. So I'm going to select this section here. I just want a little bit of that tree in there. And then we're going to hit generate. We'll skip forward and then we'll see the results. But that's what you want to do. You want to work in sections to get the better results. You can select the entire top, but then if you're not happy with the way it's rendering the bit of sky to blend it in, then, you know, that can completely ruin what you're actually doing, where if you're working in segments, you have more control over what you're actually generating for your image. Something that's a bit different to Adobe is the resolution that you're selecting is the resolution that it's actually creating. So if you're working on a large image and you have the hardware to do it, you're not limited to it doing a 1080 and then upscaling it. Yes, the model is trained in 1080, but what you're working on is done to the scale that you're actually doing. So the pixels that it's creating are creating it as more than 1080 if that's what you're actually, or more than 1024, sorry, if that's what you're actually selecting to do. Where Adobe is compressing your entire image, it's working at the 1024 and then it's blowing everything back up and stretching it out. So that's one of the benefits of this. But of course that does churn up a little bit more of your system rendering time. So that's something to keep in mind. Newer models are getting faster and faster. The old hardware that I have, I'm only able to train the model in the older style of encoding, and that's a really bad word to use. It's really more trained in the old style of the AI, so in the AI's neural understanding. So that's something I'll get into in another video. So we'll skip forward and then we'll see what the results are. Okay, so we have our two renders here. This one's based on the black, which is in the image. So that's a bit sad there. And we come over to this one and it's got that little bit of black. But other than that, it's actually blended fantastically. So I'm going to apply that generated image. And I like that a lot. And then I'm going to move through to the next part. And I'm just going to select that black bit there. We're going to come across and we'll see if we can render this entire section. We'll start generate and we'll take a look at the results in a moment. Okay, so we've got a couple of renders here. Let's take a look at them. Now, I accidentally selected the entire top with the first one, which resulted in this, which is really, really nice. Now, you can see here that it's sort of blended and over top, so it's fading over top of our image for the way its bumper is to do the blend in. Adobe tracks a bit better with the original image, so it would have kept this information in, or at least I found that when I was using it. With this one, you can add that layer, and then you can just simply come through and erase, which I've shown before. So if we were to use this one, we would just simply apply the layer, which would give us our, we'll just remove that. Okay, would give us our applied layer here, and then we can just come through to our brushes. We can select on the brush that we want to use. Actually, we'll go for we'll use that one. And then we can select on our brush, and we can actually come through and actually erase the sections that we want. I think I'm rendering on the wrong one. I did apply that. Oh, there we go. It doesn't want to erase. What's going on here? Let's have a look. That layer should be able to erase. Ah, right, because I'm on this selection up the top there. So we want to deselect. So happy little accident, actually. It's handy to know. And then we can actually come through and we can bring back in what we need to. And of course, you can adjust the opacity of this, and you can start blending in to get what you're actually looking for. Okay. So it's easy as that. And bring it down more. So it's just working with the image. I always say it's always better to do a cleanup, and even in Adobe, it's always better to do a cleanup. So if we drop that one off and we take a look at the other images that we generated, so there's our tree, we can see that some of them blend a lot better. So, and I'm really liking, well, I like both of them. You could put both of them, and then you could erase the parts that you don't want. You could keep this part of the tree and so forth. I like this one here. So I am going to apply that, which is going to give me this here. I'm going to come down there, and I'm just going to blend that in a bit. Actually, it did a really good job of recreating the hair there. I'm actually impressed. I think that looks better like that. Okay, so we'll keep this one then. I like that. Okay. So now we're moving on to the side of the image. I'm actually working in layers now, and I've decided to do that just because it's easier to actually to go through and erase parts and blend it together. So in the last part, I'm going to select this here. This could be a little bit interesting. If you run into problems, you may need to add a bit of description up the top there. So we'll do 2 renders. It's a big section, so it's going to do that in the 2 parts. And we'll skip forward and we'll see what we get. Okay, so we've got our generated images here for what we've selected. Like I said, even with Adobe, you have to do quite a number of renders to find what you're happy with. With the older system like this, there is a wait time. With 3060s, it's cut down drastically, and you'll just find yourself flying through doing something like this. But overall, I mean, for myself, with my disabilities, to try to do something like this manually is just impossible this day and age now. And yeah, so we come through, we've got some selections. We can see it's not perfect. It's cutting off some of our barn down here, and we're losing our tree that was there. We come over to this one. Now, this one's actually quite nice. Now, of course, we can come through and separately select this section, and then we can type the word tree in and render that. And we come through to this one, which is actually really good. I actually love that. So we're going to apply that one. So we'll hit apply, and we have our generated layer. Now we can deselect. Now, as I said, we can come through and we can select a section. So we can just go, I don't know, like this. I'll say I want that there, and maybe I want it to try to draw something that comes in there. To do that bit. Come down. Tall, old, bushy tree. So now we can put a prompt in there, and we can hit generate, And again, I'll have to wait a moment and then we can see the results. Now, just quickly, when we're working on an image like this, work on the lower size of the image. So this one's not overly small, if I can just find the scale new image. So this is our image size here that I'm actually working with. And at the end of that, you can increase the resolution. And once you've increased the resolution, if you wanted to, you could go into the lower quality face, highlight that, type beautiful face in, and then you can render a higher quality face because it's a larger image, so the selected size isn't so small anymore and it's not trying to confine itself to that location. So we'll skip forward quickly and then we'll take a look at what our trees look like. Okay, so I have my tree generated here, and we'll just click on it and get a look at it. And there is our tree. So that's fantastic. I love it. Deselect. Now I'm on the layers, so here we can see there's a little bit missing. I've already selected the brush that I want to work with, and we can just come through and erase what we need to. So change that. The opacity, we're on a locked layer. Which layer are we working on here? Oh, we've got to apply our tree, and then we can come through and just get that hand back in there that we need. Bring that opacity down, and just sort of blend that in a little bit on the corner. So there's always a cleanup, and some of this will have to be just go in there and manually paint back in. And I have to hold my wrist when I'm working on the mouse, which is a pain in the butt, just to help the hand tremors and control. So don't mind me leaning in. So yeah, there we go. We've lost a bit of the steeple there, so we can come through. We'll select that, bring the opacity up. This is normally stuff I do off screen when I'm working. And maybe I'll get a decent graphics tablet one day. They're very expensive. I've mentioned that before. And I have software for anti-jitter and to help the line control, which is something that I would find very, 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 very helpful with my condition. Downfall of Krita is there's no ability to hold control down and undo your lines. So I do actually find myself going from Krita into Paint Shop, which I own a very old copy of. It's old now. And you can do the layers in there, and I find myself finishing up in that. But otherwise, just take your time and work through your image. So there's our outpainted image. So we can come through and we can just quickly... Whoop. There's our original. Of course, we didn't have that tree there. And then we've come through and we've just put in pieces that we want. And just like that, we've filled out an image, and it saved me a lot of work to give it that new aspect and that new look. So it's fantastic. For a tool which is 100% free, the person that's made the plugin has done a fantastic job. I will leave a link to his GitHub below, and to his Reddit account, where you can go in and leave positive feedback. Don't leave negative feedback. Like the negative feedback that I get, people like myself don't deserve it. People like him don't deserve it. He's created a tool, and it's the person using that tool. If they're using it to breach copyright, then it's that person that is breaching copyright. It's not the maker of the application. It's the same as people going after Adobe. I understand that Adobe did get caught out with the training of their model, that it does have copyrighted material in it, but the tool itself, people do love that tool, and Adobe is, highly commended on it, and this is the same. It should be highly commended. And as I pointed out, you can make your own models like I have. So there's only my material in this one to get this image. And yeah, I think that's fantastic. So there it is. That's how to do the generative expand, the outpainting. And yeah, I mean, absolutely fantastic. Of course, you know, like all tools that exist that are there to make your life easy, and they've been around for a long time. There's always a cleanup where you'll need to go through and just do those fine tunings and get your vision to actually look like what you're actually wanting it to look like. So hopefully you liked this video, and of course, if you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and get the bell on for notifications so you can see the upcoming videos that I do. I still have to do the video on Krita AI, which I keep getting asked for. Krita AI, I keep adding an extra I in there. That's like dyslexia bit going on. I'm getting asked about models. What's the difference? And it's a very good question because there's a lot of misconception on how AI works. And even if you train a model like I've trained my model, it's not to my images. It's generated new images in a completely new look. It's very unique. But the reason for it is there is a lot of different layers to the AI, and you can think of those like individual models, individual language sections. It's very hard to explain. That's why I'll do a separate video on it. And each one that it's running through changes your image. So if you use a different sampler with, say I use a different sampler with my model, the outlook is completely different and the final image is completely different. So each sampler changes the image massively. There are LoRa's that you can add on, which are mini models as well, which change the overall image as well. So, but we'll get more into that in another video. If you want to see me push that video so it comes out sooner, leave a comment below. Like, subscribe, get the bell on for notifications, and of course, I will see you in the next Streamtabulous video. Thank you for watching my video and sticking around to the end. If you like my videos, it'd really help me out if you could like and subscribe. It helps the YouTube algorithm to push my videos out there to more viewers, which in turn helps me and helps everyone. So thank you for watching my video and hanging around to the end, and I will see you in the next video.